Hi, welcome back to our Halloween special. The next book I have, of course, is about Halloween, and it's also about friendship. Two unusual friends, an ant and a honeybee. So, of course, this is fiction, but it's imagining if an ant and a honeybee were very best friends, what might they do at Halloween? Well, let me tell you, Megan McDonald, who wrote this book, had a lot of sisters. She was the youngest. And for some reason, the author's mother made all the girls costumes for Halloween, and they all went trick-or-treating as pilgrims. Now, pilgrims are not what you usually think of for Halloween. You think of pilgrims for Thanksgiving. But I bet the little girls looked cute as they all walked together as little pilgrim girls. But Megan tells us in the back of the book that she was the youngest sister, and so the bigger costumes kept getting passed down to her. And as she grew up, she still had to keep being a pilgrim for trick-or-treating. I think it's interesting because Megan takes that memory of her Halloweens when she was young and works them into this book about Ant and Honeybee, the friends. When we meet our friends, they are trying to decide what to dress up like for Halloween. And Honeybee tells Ant, I don't want to go as a pilgrim anymore. We've been pilgrims for 2 years, and I don't like those itchy socks and all that costume. Isn't that funny? Now you know where that idea of pilgrims came from. Then our friends think, wouldn't it be fun, since we're a pair, meaning two, if we could go together like some pairs go together? You know, like a sock and a shoe, a pencil and an eraser, a bucket and a mop, or movie and popcorn. Those were some good ideas, but they look like kind of tricky things to be. But as they walked around the house, Ant came up with the best idea of all. She saw the idea in the laundry room, and she decided that the perfect pair would be a washer and dryer. So they have to come up with an outfit that looks like a washer and dryer. They get 2 boxes. They cover them with paper. They put all the dials and buttons on them, and the tape to look like doors, and the ant even has some suds coming out of her washing machine that she made out of toilet paper, and they are so cute. Then they think, wouldn't it be fun if we really acted like a washer and a dryer? So Honeybee the dryer goes bzzz and shakes, and the ant, the washer, gets bubble gum and blows bubbles like the soap powder in the washing machine. So off they go for their Halloween. I wish I could tell you that this chapter book turns out just like Ant and Honeybee want, but some people aren't getting the idea about washer and dryer. They think that our friends are dressed up like lots of other funny things, but things are still fun until it starts to rain. What's going to happen to our friends? Have you ever been trick-or-treating when it rained and it kind of spoiled your costume and your fun? Well, if that's ever happened to you, you will understand how Ant and Honeybee feel. Remember, this is a beginner chapter book, so if you're ready for a longer book, this one will be just for you. And how could we have a Halloween special without a Fancy Nancy Halloween book? And I am happy to tell you that Jane O'Connor and Robin Priest-Glasser have been busy. They have written a new Halloween story about me, and it's called Candy Bonanza. In just a minute, I'm going to tell you what that word bonanza means. It's very fancy. But before I do, I want you to look closely at the cover. Here we see Frenchie, my sweet doggie, and she's all dressed up. And here's Bree, and here's Jojo, and of course there's me. And if you look at my hand and my face, you will see that I am eating something. And I will tell you, it's one of my favorite things, chocolate. Oh, it's a candy bar made of chocolate. And that's a hint about something that happens in my story. I want you to see my home all decorated for Halloween. My mother says we kind of went overboard, which means maybe we did too much decorating, but I like a fancy house for Halloween. And here we are, we're all ready to go, except my mom. She can't go trick-or-treating with us. She has to stay at the house and greet the trick-or-treaters that come to her. So off we go with my dad and my friends, and we are going out for the candy bonanza. A bonanza is a fancy word that means oodles and oodles of something. And if you're not sure what oodles and oodles means, it's a fancy way of saying a lot of something. Oh, we're hoping for our bonanza of candy. We're hoping our neighbors give out wonderful treats. Mrs. Devine has made homemade cookies, and since we know her very well, she's our friend, it's okay to eat them. But I decided it's okay to eat it right now. So I started with a cookie, and then you know about the chocolate bar, and then we came to this wonderful tree that my friends made, and it's hanging candy all over it. Little bags of candy that we can pick. And I picked a bag of jelly beans. And here I am, yep. I'm just picking out the purple ones because you know purple is my favorite color. Pretty soon, everybody's buckets for their Halloween candy is getting pretty full. But when I look in mine, I notice that it seems like I have a lot more wrappers than I do candy. Now, boys and girls, don't be like me. You wait. You take your candy home and you have your mom and dad check it, make sure it's safe, and then eat it a little bit at a time. But watch out for your dad, because daddies love chocolate too, and they might grab the good ones. So be careful. I hope that you have a wonderful Halloween trick-or-treating time. I hope that your Halloween sack or bucket looks like a candy bonanza. It's going to be a fun month. I hope, though, that you'll find time to work in some reading. Sometimes we have rainy, cooler days around Halloween, and that's a perfect time to snuggle up with some good books for the season. Thank you for coming today. Work hard at school, keep reading, and maybe even check out these books that have my stamp of approval. Until next time, have a spooky, fun month. Au revoir.